Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. It's a very special episode. It is our 100th episode. I am Jeremy Blair.
And I'm Rain Whalen.
And this is Reservations.
Yeah, man. 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Well, I mean, it's 100 for you. For me, it's about like 95 or something like that. But
90...
I'm pretty sure I missed like 5 episodes.
6. Because you weren't into in the first beginning. Because I had my buddy George and my buddy Felipe on.
Well, then you had that one with Alex too.
Oh, yeah. So
that's 3.
It's 3. Then I had Ashley on, and
that's
4.
And then I missed the...
I had Alex back on for Night of the Living Dead in season 5 because you got sick.
Yeah.
So about 95.
Yeah,
but
so about
still,
95.
But I mean,
the show has done 100 episodes, so that's a huge deal. So, that's why we're celebrating with our beverages. We got our beverages here. We got our White Russians.
Yes, our White Russians. Dude,
why are we drinking White Russians?
Well, hang on. I want to be just a little bit sappy. Like it's hard to believe that it's 100 episodes because, you know, when I first kind of came up with this idea, I didn't think I would actually make it this far.
You didn't think so?
No, I'd be like, I was like, yeah, you know what? I want to start a podcast.
Do you think you would have ended up like your other one?
Probably.
Yeah. How many episodes did you do?
2.
Yeah.
I may bring it back. Maybe. I don't know. It's a little too late now.
It's not too late.
But, yeah, dude, and I tell people all the time when I have a podcast, I was like, yeah, you know, me and my buddy Jeremy, we have a podcast together. And they're like, oh, yeah, what do you talk about? And I need to get better at just saying, it's about movies. Because I'm like, well, you know, when it started...
Oh, you, give them a history lesson.
I'm like, it was supposed to be... Because originally, I like the trajectory we've taken it. Mm-hmm. But when I think back, I'm like, you know, originally it was supposed to be, eventually we were going to get into, episodes about, life and stuff like that.
Oh.
And then it was just like, you know what, let's just solely focus on movies. And honestly, that's way better.
Yeah.
I feel like it's much more entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Than, Jeremy, so when was the first time you had a breakup?
Ugh.
You know?
Never. Oh, that's an easy one. Never.
Oh, God.
But you'd have to talk to girls first to be able to break up. So, that's okay. I can answer that one.
But still, I feel like that wouldn't. I mean, I feel like that's another reason why the other podcast didn't make it because I don't know.
Also, you had a hard time.
I had a hard time
booking people for it, which is a similar problem you had at the beginning of this show.
That is true.
Problem booking. I was one of the only few people that was available every week.
Yeah, well, and the other thing too is I have a hard time talking by myself.
Yeah.
Because I went back and listened to that first episode of the other podcast, and I'm doing a lot of ums and don't know where I should take the story next, which is weird because I can talk to people, but it's I can't talk to myself.
Yeah.
And so this is better too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I agree.
So yes, Jeremy, we are celebrating. Would you like to tell the people what we're celebrating this 100th episode with?
We are celebrating this episode, of course, with our beverages, our White Russians, because today's episode, as you all know, is The Big Lebowski.
Yes, The Big Lebowski. As everyone should probably know by this point, this is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I could watch this movie when I'm having a bad day, a great day, and it will always cheer me up. Watching it again last night, I was still laughing at everything.
Yeah.
And even pointing out how none of this really would have happened if Walter would have just kept his mouth shut. Yeah,
which Walter has a hard time doing, as we know.
Which we'll get there.
I'm also wearing a Big Lebowski bowling shirt.
Yes, I wanted to participate in this, but shockingly, in the city of Midland, it is impossible to find a Big Lebowski shirt.
I should have brought you my Big Lebowski socks. I have socks.
That's all right. I'm not wearing socks today. I got this from Earthbound.
I know that store.
When Ashley and I went to Kerrville for our anniversary.
Kerrville.
And it was the most hippie thing I could think of.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is very comfortable.
Yeah. It looks comfy.
And I want to say the dude wears one. I don't think he does.
He doesn't. He does wear a sweatshirt, but it's a zipped open, I mean, it looks like it's, 20 years old, and like most of his clothes, they look just old and beat up.
And originally, we were going to actually wear the sweater.
The sweaters, yeah.
But the actual company that made the one for the film, that bitch is $200.
Yeah, dude.
Even though I would have worn it every day. No.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's too expensive. Than the ones that we did order from, they had to back out because of like COVID and the hurricane reason. So I mean, it was whatever. But I found this one on Amazon. Got it the 2-day shipping or whatever. So it's not like it was in the movie, but I like it. So it's
I mean, and they do wear bowling shirts, and bowling's a big part of the movie.
Is it?
Yeah. I know you're being facetious. Yeah.
You're obviously not a golfer. So.
You're obviously not a golfer. So yeah, everyone, this episode is going to be a little different. I mean, not too different.
Yeah,
we're still going to talk about the movie.
I like to think of it like this. So in series finales of shows, the series finales I like. So to give you an example, House. Okay, I love the show House. House did not do a traditional, like. They did do like a sappy ending, sort of, but
like a goodbye to all the characters. Kind
of they kept the integrity of what the show was, which is every week they have a case they have to solve, and this was no different. They still had someone in the hospital. They were trying to figure out what was wrong with them, right? And so I feel like yes, this is our 100th episode. Yes, it's a big deal, but we're still going to talk about a movie, right? It's not like we're just going to sit here and and suck our own dicks for however long this episode's going to last, for making it 100 episodes. It's not. Here's another thing. I'm not good at, saying I've done a good job or anything like that, because it's like, it's not hard to get to 100 episodes if you just do it all the time, right? I mean, we just do it. I mean, it's not like, nothing has been stopping us. We don't, and nothing will stop us. We can do this forever, essentially.
We'll get to 200 and then 300.
Yeah. So, but it is a big deal, and it's a big deal we've gotten to 100. But
yes. So of course, we're still going to talk about the movie. We may get a little bit more like personal, like what this movie means to us, and future Rain, who will be editing this episode. Hopefully, he comes up with a good flow, because we're going to have some testimonials. Throughout the episode.
Yeah.
Friends, family also who want to talk about the movie.
Yeah.
So Future Rain, don't fuck that up.
Yeah, don't. Hey, Future Rain, fuck you. All right, do it right. I also want to say that this is a great movie to do a 100th episode on, because in terms of lasting power and cultural impact, not only does this thing have its own convention, but even its own religion. And so we'll talk about that. But so in terms of what a film can achieve in terms of fandom, I think this one is pretty much peak.
Yeah.
This is like how it can change someone's life if a movie can. This movie has changed people's lives.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like, in a major way.
Yeah. So before we get started, I just want to give a brief shout out to my buddy Fern, because he was the one who gave me this idea way back in like season 4. Because I really wanted to do it, but I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's the right time to do the Big Lebowski yet. And he was like, well, how many episodes are y'all at? And I think we were at 60 or 70 by that point. And he was like, save it for 100th episode. And I was like, I can do that.
Bet.
So, Fern, thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Fern.
And now let's commence. So, Jeremy, how would you like to start this thing? Would you like to start with the actual movie itself?
Yeah, we'll probably have to, because the reason why this movie has impacted the culture in such a way, it has to start with the movie itself. The movie has to be good for people to take it and run with it. Right. And so, yeah, let's start with the movie, because without the movie, we don't have this cultural impact. We wouldn't
be even doing this episode.
Right. So I mean, it's a Coen Brothers movie, right? And
Yes.
there are a lot of Coen Brothers-esque things, right, with the dialogue, especially between Walter, the dude, and Donnie to a certain extent. By the way, sidebar about Donnie, okay?
Uh-huh.
I remembered thinking that Walter was too hard on Donnie, right? Like really being mean to Donnie. And then I watched it today and I go, oh, no, he's not. Donnie's not fucking paying attention. Like, and then wants to chime in on the conversation. It's like, how about you actually focus and be a part of the conversation, and then you can ask questions.
But he was bowling.
Don't care.
Hey, and he's also a surfer, okay?
Yeah, that's true.
And it's also Steve Buscemi, one of his best roles.
That's not true.
That is not true.
That's not
but Steve Buscemi is still awesome.
I love Steve Buscemi so much. But yeah, so I just wanted to give that little, it's sort of like how...
I was not expecting you to say that. I was expecting you to be like, yeah, I don't even think... Because I want to talk about it, and we'll get there later on, but the whole theory that Donnie isn't actually there.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, do you not know this theory?
No.
Oh, we'll get... Oh, okay. Then I'll save it. We'll get there.
That's really interesting. I kind of like that. But, it's sort of like my Shelley Duvall backpedal. where I was like, poor Shelley Duvall, and then I was like, wait a minute, no.
Yeah, like...
Shelley Duvall sucks.
It's like the same thing, that we learned last night with Caillou, We think Caillou's this nice little kid, but no, his mom just raised a whiny little bitch.
Yeah.
So it's actually his mom's fault.
Yeah.
Fuck Caillou.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So we have a Coen Brothers movie, which, as we did with the Inside Llewyn Davis episode, people should know that you're hit or miss with the Coen Brothers.
Very much so. I tend to gravitate more towards their dramas and their thrillers. However, examples of that not being true would be Fargo, and The Big Lebowski would be these two.
Yeah, because
Raising Arizona.
Because Fargo is technically considered a comedy.
Yeah, and it's hilarious. So that's and of course Steve Buscemi
gets
amazing, right?
Destroyed by a wood chipper.
Spoilers for.
Anyway, yeah, man. So Fargo. This was the first Coen Brothers movie I'd ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I should also mention my mother showing this to me at an age I probably shouldn't have seen this movie at.
That seems to be a theme of this show.
Yeah. Mom, I love you, though. And thank you for showing me this movie. But I remember not getting it.
Yeah.
Enjoying it, but not getting it.
Yeah.
It wasn't until much later, and when I got to show this movie to someone with fresh eyes, a.k.a. my wife, she had never seen it. She was like, wait, is this whole movie just because someone peed on his rug? I was like, yeah.
And if you want to get a little deeper, it's because someone went to the wrong house.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah.
Because this is what's referred to, and I had to look it up just to make sure I was using the right terminology. This is what's referred to as a shaggy dog story. Implying that our hero, the dude, is thrust into his own story by an unforeseen force, in this case, a porn company's goons. Yeah, because had Wu and I can't remember his name.
He's the devil.
He's the devil in Supernatural, and he was in Mulholland Drive.
That's right.
He was our bumbling assassin.
That's right.
Mistake him for another gentleman of the same name.
Jeffrey Lebowski.
Another Jeffrey Lebowski.
Who also lives in Los Angeles. Who,
right.
And
shout out to our Blazing Saddles episode.
Yes.
I can't think of that actor's name. I want to say this is one of his last few movies before he passed.
Probably.
But he's still hilarious.
Yeah, he's great.
Anyway, so Jeremy, would you like to take it from there?
Yeah, so I do like this narration that we open with because it's Sam Elliott. And as we've discussed in our Tombstone episode, Sam Elliott is amazing. And
yes.
I am such a huge fan.
And I looked this up last night. It was only 4 years after he did Tombstone.
Oh, wow.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
So pretty.
God, love Sam Elliott. So we get this, and it's sort of like he's setting it up like a tall tale.
Yes.
Right?
Which is kind of what Shaggy Dog Story is.
Right. And which I love, and I like that even though we're in Los Angeles, we're getting this sort of old West feel with the tumbleweed and the,
A tumbleweed in the middle of Los Angeles.
yeah, in the middle of Los Angeles, and which kind of infers, his sort of place in this movie, which he seems out of place, right?
Yeah.
He also doesn't seem real either.
Yeah.
Is he real? Ooh, right? Who knows?
No, he's not real. He asks the bartender for a sarsaparilla, and the guy
Yeah.
gives it to him. He's
Yeah,
not.
he's not real.
He's real. He's there.
Fine. So, and so we set up this tall tale, right? And then our introduction, of course, is the dude at Ralph's getting cream for his White Russians.
Which is why we are drinking White Russian.
That's right. His drink of choice, and it's really good.
Yes. Sidebar. Jeremy had never had one, and I made him one last night, and I think he has a new favorite drink.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's pretty.
For me, this was my first alcoholic beverage when I turned 21.
Yeah. Because of the Big Lebowski.
Because of the Big Lebowski. Yeah. I didn't party a lot in high school. I didn't underage drink. I'm a responsible person.
AKA loser.
Did you do the same thing?
No! But that's because I wasn't invited. It wasn't because I didn't want to.
I.
It's not because I didn't want to.
But the day I turned 21, I ordered a White Russian. And of course, they looked at me like I was weird. Luckily, someone at the bar knew what I was ordering. And
he also called it something else.
A Caucasian.
A Caucasian,
which is,
that's right.
It's slightly different. I had to look it up a long time ago. I can't remember, but a Caucasian is slightly different. Same basic elements. I think, like, instead of cream, it's something else. I don't remember, but he calls it a Caucasian too, and they know what he's talking about.
Right, because it's the dude.
It's the dude.
Right.
Which brings us to the first part, his name. He as Sam Elliott says, he doesn't go by his birth name.
Jeffrey Lebowski.
He's called the dude. And that's all you need to know. And that's fine.
And so the fact that I'm wearing this bowling shirt that has the last name Lebowski on it is sort of disrespectful.
Yeah.
Because he would, even in the movie, he doesn't wear one that has his name on it.
Yeah. And
it says art, I think, on it.
And even in, when he introduces himself at the mortuary, he goes but the dude, and the guy's like, huh? Yeah, never mind. Because he kind of realized, at this point, it's just, calm.
Who cares?
But that's such a great name to call your lead character.
The dude.
The dude.
And I think what makes this movie last as long as it has and has accumulated such cultural impacts is, of course, Jeff Bridges. It's his delivery. It's his character. I know the Coen Brothers wrote this character, but without Jeff Bridges, it doesn't exist, right? Without Jeff Bridges, it doesn't reach the height.
I want to say he was their only option. I meant to look that up.
Would make sense to me.
It makes sense to me too, because the Coen Brothers, much like some of the other directors we've talked about, they don't do anything on accident. It all has a purpose to it. So I would say this. Jeff was their only choice, and if they didn't get Jeff, they probably didn't know what they were going to do.
Right. And, with his character is so cool, right?
Yeah, dude is awesome.
So,
remember last week? Oh no, it should have been last week. My time frame is off. Last week,
we've been doing these out of order.
Fight Club, yes. Technically, in this reality, it would have been last week.
Okay, cool.
We warned everyone, don't be like Tyler Durden. Hey, it's okay if you want to be like the dude.
It's okay if you want to be like the dude, The dude...
I mean, pay your rent, but...
Yeah, you gotta pay rent.
But, just go with the flow, man.
Yeah, that's sort of his whole thing, is he's super laid back. He doesn't really let things rattle him that much. He just wants to be going with the flow.
Except for when they pee on his fucking rug.
You know what I mean? Because it tied the whole room together.
So I also want to mention, because I heard something a while back that a lot of people are saying how this movie is also a lot about how people's mindset during this time of 1998, during the Kuwait War, when George H. Bush, not George W. Bush, George H. Bush was not going to put up with any shit from the military forces in court.
Technically, 98 would have... 98's when the movie came out.
Oh,
but
so it would have been 90...
Like 90, 91.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
90, 91, because in 98 it would have been Clinton. So.
That's right. I don't want to know how you know that.
Because in the beginning narration, he says that this movie takes place in the early 90s.
Right.
And then that's okay. And I'm a huge fan of Clinton, so no, no, but
I mean, that would explain why you're so excited for impeachment,
dude. I want to see impeachment so bad.
Okay, anyway. We're getting off topic.
But you're right, because that does come into play, because with Saddam Hussein,
yes,
because he is in that crazy dream sequence.
Drug dream sequence.
Yeah, and it does sort of matter. Like when he is writing his check for 69 cents. Ew.
Ayo.
It's the day that George H. Bush
sent troops
to Kuwait, right?
Which is funny because this is how...
It's also 9/11, by the way.
This is also how the dude gets his big speech when he goes against the Big Lebowski.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this aggression will not stand.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah.
But you're right. It is that this backdrop that seems sort of insignificant, it does end up making a difference because it has a lot to do with his ideologies, his attitudes, his sort of demeanor implanted into all of this stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
That is the time, right? He just doesn't fit. Right. And he's still a relic of the summer of love, right? Sort of, whatever, man, Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why the Big Lebowski hates him so much, I think, because he's, as much as the Big Lebowski probably is just ashamed and doesn't want people to find out his own shortcomings.
Yeah.
He just hates that this guy is able to even exist, right?
Yeah. As we learned, the Big Lebowski calls anyone who hasn't achieved anything bums.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I'd also like to point out he writes a check for 69 cents because he doesn't have any cash to pay for his half and half for his White Russians.
Yeah.
Which has long since bothered me. How does the dude pay for things?
I don't know. Because
remember, when he gets arrested by the Malibu police, the only identification he has is his Ralph's valued member card.
Yeah.
That's all he's got.
Yeah. Who knows how he pays for anything?
Like how he got a bowling ball. How he even got that. I mean, pretty cool card until, the Germans kill it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Right.
So then he comes home.
Yeah, and this is when you kind of get a full scope of, just how, sort of laid back this guy is. He is, getting his head dunked in the toilet, and he goes, "Where's the money?" He goes, "I don't know, I think it's in there. Let me look one more time."
Yes.
That is so funny to me.
Well, it's always, I've always found it funny because he never gives him a chance to actually respond.
Right.
Where's the money, Lebowski? Dunk. Where's the money, Lebowski? Dunk.
Yeah.
And then finally, when he gets an opportunity to respond, instead of being like, "I don't know what you're talking about, man," he just hits him with some sass. Like,
yeah.
"Oh, I think it's down there somewhere. Let me take another look."
Let me look one more time.
Yeah.
I idolize people like that so much because that's how I want to be. But of course, if I had been in that scenario, I'd be like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Oh my God. Please don't hurt me."
Yeah.
And of course, they pee on his rug.
Yeah. At least he's housebroken.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because we should mention, so these two guys are roughing up the dude.
Yeah.
For some money that they keep saying his wife owes Jackie Treehorn.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things, I didn't catch it until probably like the fifth or sixth time I've seen this movie. When he finally tells him, I apologize if anyone hears any screaming children outside.
Screaming children.
Anyway, when he's like, "Do you see a wedding ring on my finger? I mean, the fucking toilet seat's up." and he pulls the toilet seat down, and there's just a ring around the actual toilet cover because he always keeps the toilet seat.
Because it's up at all times. Yeah.
I never caught that until I was like, oh my god, it's fucking funny.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this movie, it's got some detail in there.
Yeah.
You know?
That Coen Brothers detail, man.
That Coen Brothers detail.
Especially like when they first grab him and the bowling ball hits one of the
Goons.
no, it hits the door frame.
Oh.
And you can always see the curve where they knocked it so hard it fucking broke.
The first thing my eyes go to is, oh no, his cream.
Because his cream hits the toilet.
Yeah, it's half and it just explodes. You're like, oh man.
Dude, that check is so gonna bounce now.
Damn it. You know?
Yeah.
He just wasted 69 cents on that, you know?
I know. And then they finally realize they got the wrong Jeff Lebowski.
They have the wrong Jeff Lebowski.
Woo. Isn't this guy supposed to be a millionaire? Which I love. It's just such a nonchalant question asked in the form of a very defeated guy. Like, woo. Isn't this guy supposed to be a millionaire?
Well, here's what's funny is they still saw the outside of the house and still went in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and he lives in like a condo apartment area.
Yeah.
And nothing about that said millionaire.
Yeah. And then once we finally, I think that's part of the comedy is when we finally go and he goes to see the big Jeff Lebowski, right?
It's this massive mansion.
And it's like, how would they have ever in a million years gotten them confused?
Well, I always love when they finally realize, like, shit. I know they're like, fucking time waster. And I love that Lucifer goes, thanks a lot, asshole. Like, yeah, like it's
like it's his fault.
It's his fault that they got the wrong guy.
Yeah.
And then I would say it's a two-step process why this whole movie happens. That's part one. And then part one comes next when we meet the dude's friends.
Yeah.
Donnie, played by Steve Buscemi.
Yep.
And Walter Sobchak, one of my favorite John Goodman roles.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. I mean, I love John Goodman dearly, and this is going to be controversial.
Okay, controversial. Okay.
Anytime he works with the Coen Brothers, it's awesome, man.
You think so?
I love his Cyclops character in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
Which, for sure, is a future episode.
Okay.
Because I love that movie.
Did you ever see Barton Fink?
That's, I think, one of the few I haven't. I haven't seen that one or Serious Man.
They're both really good.
But this is, because John Goodman, I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
This is obviously well after Roseanne.
I don't know if it's after. It might be during. Yeah. I don't know how long Roseanne lasted. Because this is, they probably shot it in 97, so...
well, anyway, and then I want to say he at least did one Flintstones movie by this point. Because there's like fucking 3 of them.
There's 3?
I want to say there's 3.
Oh, man.
And I want to say Barney Rubble gets recast in every single one. Because they got my boy Harold Ramis.
Yeah.
I think in the first one, and then I'm 90% certain he's not in the other ones.
Yeah, well, anyway.
We're not talking about the Flintstones. Anyway.
Viva Rock Vegas.
But the point I'm making is at this point, John Goodman has established himself primarily as a family-friendly actor.
Yeah.
And this role of Walter Sobchak, the ex-Vietnam vet, which we will talk about how he does not let that go.
Nope.
Is far from it.
Yeah, even in spoilers, even at Donnie's like this, then they're gonna set out his ashes. He just can't let it go. And the dude finally calls him out on it. He goes, "What does that have to do with Vietnam?
What does anything have to do with Vietnam?"
In the original script, he was supposed to say, "You weren't even in Vietnam." And
actually, I'm glad they cut it.
Are you?
I'm glad they cut it.
Okay. It would have just made him an absolute lunatic.
Because he is.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
I'm glad they cut it, because I feel like that would have made him too crazy.
Too crazy? Yeah.
Too crazy.
Because he is crazy.
He is batshit crazy.
Yeah,
But I feel like that would have made him too crazy.
Like pulling a gun out during a league game.
Yeah. But my toe wasn't over the line. Anyway, and so this happens to be one of my favorite conversations when we meet Donnie and Walter for the first time.
Yes, because it's very fast. It's very tennis match back and forth, right? With a third interjection from Donnie every now and then.
Yeah, because I remember when I got my Steelbook version, which Future Rain may put up a picture of it because I like it.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of don't like Steelbooks anymore, but I really like this one. I was watching the special features, and John Goodman was talking about how, like, he gets asked constantly if there was a lot of improvisation on set. And he was like, like occasionally. He was like, but that's just how good the script was. That's how the script was written.
Yeah. How
they cut each other off so fast.
You've heard me talk about Aaron Sorkin before.
Yes.
It's sort of like that. It's, the cutting each other off, the hiccups, hiccups in like saying a sentence and then you stop and then you start again. All of that can be written down. Yeah. And so, for instance, Aaron Sorkin writes that stuff down. Mm-hmm. And so I wouldn't be surprised if none of that was improv.
Well, I think he said that whole conversation is not, especially my favorite part. It's like, I'm talking about unchecked aggression here, dude. I'm talking about drawing a line in the sand, dude. Across this line, you do not. Also, and that's what I love the most about Walter.
And then he talks about him saying Chinaman, right?
Not the preferred nomenclature. Asian American, please.
And I love dude's response about the railroad, dude.
Like this isn't the guy who built the railroad. What the fuck are you talking about?
Too good, man.
It's great. And so we meet dude's friends. Donnie is... I mean, okay. I will concede. Donnie, yeah, he wasn't paying attention. Yeah, he was bowling.
He's not paying attention.
But he was bowling. Hitting them strikes, by the way. He was throwing rocks tonight, okay?
Hitting them strikes until the night he dies.
Which...
The only time we see him not hit a strike.
Well, and it's anyway.
It's foreshadowing.
Anyway, and I just love how we established very early on that Donnie is kind of... I don't want to say the weak one of the group.
He's sort of aloof. He's sort of, like in his own world. He's, he loves hanging out with his bros.
Loves bowling.
He loves bowling.
And if you notice, he's the only one of the group who doesn't drink or smoke.
Yeah.
But it's because he's also a surfer.
He surfs, bro. Can't be doing that stuff and surf at the same time, bro.
Nah, bro.
You got to get up to hit them nectar ass waves. You know what I mean? Like them tubular waves. You got to get up early. You can't do that if you're drinking and smoking all the time.
Unless you're doing it while you're surfing.
Yeah, that's fine. I learned that in Johnny Tsunami.
My God. Jesus Christ.
Just kidding. No one drinks or smokes Johnny Tsunami.
It's Disney. Wink.
Wink, wink.
Anyway, but yeah, because we establish, Walter going, then you're out of your element here, Donnie. You're like a child who wanders into a movie, which is so funny that they would use that kind of metaphor.
Yeah.
I felt like that was a little meta. I mean, maybe not, but it's just funny that they use a metaphor of someone walking into a theater.
Yeah.
In the middle of a movie.
Yeah.
And I just love that throughout the movie, the aggression towards Donnie from Walter just amps up. Every interaction.
Yeah.
Goes from just yelling at him, telling him that you're out of your element, to shut the fuck up, Donnie.
And I gotta say, I get it. I understand, because he's not paying attention. And it's not just not paying attention, that's fine. But he's not paying attention and still wants to chime in. No, sir. You can't do that.
Like one of my favorite parts when he's chiming in is when we meet the Jesus, John Turturro, which we will not discuss the Jesus roles.
Didn't say it. So.
Look, I love John Turturro.
Yeah.
And and he wrote and directed it apparently, but
what's so funny about that is I remembered him having a bigger role. No pun intended, but I remembered him having he was in the movie longer, but he's in two scenes. And barely.
And John had so much fun with it.
I'm sure.
I think that's why he did the Jesus roles.
Yeah.
Because, the Coen Brothers, I think, have outright said they will not do a sequel to The Big Lebowski, and they shouldn't.
Right.
This is a movie that does not need a sequel.
Nope.
It ends perfectly.
Yep.
That's all good. But I'm sure John was getting a little antsy and was like, like, maybe we could bring the Jesus back. Not without the Coen Brothers backing you.
Now, and also,
And apparently the movie was also considered a remake of something. Not just a spin-off, but like an actual remake of something.
Weird.
I know.
My thing was, it's, the character isn't a good person.
No, he's a pederast.
Yeah. So doing a whole movie of just him, I think is a mistake, and no wonder no one saw it, because if you know the movie, you know his character, like, gross.
Yeah.
How can you redeem that?
But anyway, so one of my favorite parts is when the dude offers up his theory, which we're gonna circle back to his theory of that Bunny kidnapped herself.
Right.
And he's like, it's like what Lennon said. You look for the person that. What am I trying to say here, Walter? And Donnie's behind them going, "I am the walrus," and he keeps saying it. I am the walrus, and then finally Walter's like, "Shut the fuck up, Donnie. V.I. Lenin." The communist revolutionary.
Right, not John Lennon.
Vladimir Lenin.
Not John Lennon.
Not John Lennon. Anyway, so, and then this is where we get step 2 as to why this movie happens. Walter finally tells the dude that he needs to go see Jeffrey Lebowski, the millionaire, the big Lebowski, to compensate him for his rug, because his wife goes out and has money all over fucking town, and they come and they pee on my rug?
Yep. That's not okay.
That's not okay. And RIP to our boy, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman giving an amazing performance here.
As Brant, the underling who is so clearly, he's trying so hard to get to always be in his boss's good graces, but he will never, like, ever be acknowledged, like, hey, good work, Brant.
Yeah, no, never. Now, he and Julianne Moore have worked together a couple of times. One in one of our past episodes, Magnolia.
Yes.
And another in Boogie Nights. So.
And we haven't done these movies, and we won't, mainly because I didn't see the final one. But also in the last...
Oh, yeah.
2 Hunger Games movies?
Yeah. Hungry Games.
His final movie. Catching Fire Part 2. Was that the final movie? Or is it the Mokji? I don't know.
I know it was the last one, so it's part dos.
Part 2s.
Part 2s.
Yeah, he filmed all his scenes and then he left us.
Damn.
He left us. Jurassic Park.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so we meet the Big Lebowski. And he's not a nice guy.
No, he's sort of like Old Man Potter in It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, especially, and I love the juxtaposition of we're seeing all his awards and everything that he's done for Los Angeles, and helping the little urban achievers.
Yep.
And so you think, like, okay, this guy will get it, and that's, again, great Coen Brothers setup.
Yeah.
So you think, okay, like, the dude's gonna explain to him, like, hey, these guys were looking for me, looking for you. They peed on my rug. I just want you to fix that.
Yeah.
No. The Big Lebowski is an asshole.
Yeah.
Because, as you mentioned, he doesn't understand why the dude is even existing.
Right.
Because, as he says, how, he's disabled because he, I guess, lost the use of his legs in Korea. But he persevered anyway. And so he believes that if you work hard enough and earn your way, then you're owed something. But that's not how the dude sees it.
No. And I love that after their interaction, Seymour Hoffman's like, hey, how'd it go? He goes, said I could take any rug in the house?
He's like, okay, old man said I could take any rug in the house. Because, and that's, excuse me, everyone, and that's the genius behind the dude, is he knows after, the Big Lebowski lost his temper, he knew, like, okay, there's going to be no convincing this guy. And as he says it, fuck it. Mm-hmm. And because he knows Brant will believe anything he says.
Right.
And even, people, I feel like I read somewhere where people think, like, the dude is not a smart man. He's very smart. He's just a lazy man.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do a whole lot.
He just doesn't, yeah. And as he says when we meet Jackie Treehorn, the dude just wanted his rug. He's not greedy.
No, he wants his rug.
He tied the room together.
They tied the room.
And then this is when we meet Bunny, the one who really is the cause of all this too.
Tara Reid.
Tara Reid. I want to say
Tara Reid as herself in the big one.
well, Tara Reid as herself before she got really bad. This is when she was. I want to say Van Wilder was like 2001. So this is very early in her career. She still looked good.
Yep.
Now she looks like she's had way too much plastic surgery.
Yeah.
But anyway, and this we also when we meet Uli, played by I can't think of that actor's name.
Yeah, he's in Fargo. He's in John Wick. He's in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, he's in. Yeah, God, he was the devil in Constantine. Yeah, he's been in. Here, Future Rain. Put up a picture of him and his name. There we go. All sort of setting up Maud's point later on of why would you kidnap someone you know? The point of a hostage is just so they can't identify you later on.
Right.
And so this is all kind of subtly, the Coen Brothers are setting this up from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like, hey, that guy, he's important. Yeah, he's passed out in the pool, but he's important.
Yeah.
And, of course, with the toenail polish also, because she's painting her toes.
Yep.
Setting all of everything that's about to happen, setting it up in that moment.
And, of course, it all... You're right. They all set it up and they set up the pins and they knock them down, to use a bowling reference.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem very clunky to me. Like the toenail polish is very clunky because they use it to have her blatantly flirt with this guy and then, offer to S&D
for $500.
Yeah, it's like $1,500. I don't remember.
But Brant can't watch. Otherwise, he has to pay $100.
And of course, I love the responses. I'm going to a cash machine.
I'm just going to go to a cash machine. And Brant's like trying to get him out. It's
too good.
If you haven't figured it out already, this movie's fantastic.
It's fun. Yeah, it's really fun. I wouldn't say it's one of my faves, but it's great.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. Okay, so let's...
You want to fast forward a little bit?
Yeah.
To what really begins to happen, because then this movie turns into I guess a crime kind of movie.
Yeah. Is when she gets kidnapped. And, the ransom note gets there, and they want the dude to be the handoff guy.
Yes.
And again, this is sort of a, why? Mm-hmm. Why not have Seymour Hoffman do it or whatever? But I like that they were just like, I don't know, that idiot who was here earlier and who stole my rug.
Yeah, and as we learn, there's a reason for it. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
So Bunny is kidnapped, and they want $1 million for her.
Yep.
Which, in 1991, that seems
it's a lot. You could get a half gallon of half and half for 69 cents. So that's, now it's like $2. So
Jesus. Yeah.
So $1 million's a lot.
And, even though the dude isn't too jazzed about being carrier, he is jazzed about that they're going to let him keep the rug that he stole.
Yep.
And they're going to pay him, what was it, $50,000?
Maybe it was 5,000 because it was
$5,000. Yeah,
yeah, it's $5,000.
Because Walter's like, how much do they pay? He's like, $5,000, man, and I get to keep the rug. And Walter's like, just for doing the handoff. But then this is when things start to kind of go off the rails. When the dude offers his theory on Bunny, having met her, having seen how she acts, he deduces she probably kidnapped herself.
Yeah.
And Walter's like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, we got this trophy wife, she's not getting enough money, so she fakes a ransom to get the money. And Walter's not having that.
Yeah.
He didn't watch his buddies die face down in the muck. So this fucking strumpet.
Yeah.
But, there's no connection to me now. But there's a literal connection.
Oh my god! Not everything has everything to do with Vietnam. So funny. He brings up Vietnam all the time.
Like at the diner.
So Walter is constantly messing things up for the dude.
But Walter also kind of calls everything.
Yeah, but still.
But so, dude. Yeah,
He's messing everything up. He brought the dummy suitcase, which of course the suitcase was already a dummy suitcase,
Yeah,
but they didn't know that.
Yeah.
And
and a fucking Uzi.
And then, of course, then it fucks up his car even more.
Which is the first of many things that happens to dude's car. Walter
car.
accidentally shoots out the brake light and the tire.
Yeah. And then, of course, makes it crash into whatever.
Yeah.
But then Walter also, he screws up finding that kid. Right, and then breaking those cars' windows, and then that guy shows up, and then they breaks the dude's car's windows.
Yeah.
And all that shit. Walter just, he's mind his business.
Walter...
I think Walter just misses the action of Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Why?
just wants to go back so bad, and if the Coen Brothers had left in that piece of dialogue...
I mean, do you agree with me? It wouldn't...
I don't know. It does change the movie, obviously.
It does
significantly change the movie.
It does change the movie, but it would have made him way more fucking crazy.
Yeah, of course.
And he's just the right amount of crazy in this movie.
Do you think so?
I think the craziest thing he does is picking up the Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Because he's seen a lot of spinals before.
He's seen a lot of spinals. This guy can walk. All right.
I've never been more certain of anything in my life.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, so Walter fucks up the handoff because they're supposed to just throw the bag out the car. But no, he wants to beat the information out of someone, even though he is truly convinced that Bunny kidnapped herself.
Yeah.
Which begs the question: then why would you need to beat someone if you threw out the ringer and you are so convinced she kidnapped herself? Why would you need to beat information out of anyone?
Right.
And then the dude's car gets stolen. But then this is when we meet Maud.
Yeah.
Julianne Moore.
Jeffrey Lebowski's daughter.
Yes. Not the dude's daughter. The Big Lebowski's
The Big
daughter.
Lebowski daughter.
I love Julianne Moore
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, she's great.
And in the special features of the version I have on Blu-ray, she said how so much fun she had playing Maud.
Yeah.
And you can tell because, like, when we first meet Maud, she's painting in a very strange way.
Yeah.
But saying how her art has been commended for being extremely vaginal, because even the word sometimes makes men uncomfortable. Vagina. That cracks me up so much because she takes this kind of not a long pause, but a pause, and then vagina, and just fucking love
Yeah,
it.
she has a weird accent too, which is sort of strange.
Yeah,
She's strange, and then we even have David
Lupin from Harry Potter.
Yeah, and of course our two Charlotte Kaufmans we've done.
Yeah,
he was in Anomalisa, and I'm thinking of ending things.
yes.
David
Thules.
Thuins.
He's also the shame wizard in Big Mouth.
Yep.
And they made him look like Lupin,
little bit.
which I fucking love.
Yeah.
I think so.
So she's what I meant by that is she's weird and she has weird friends always hanging around her, and it's
and I think it's meant to imply that the dude is the most normal person in this movie.
right. As out of place as he is, he goes to this place and they're out of place.
Yeah. So in retrospect, he's the normal one.
Yeah.
Of course, another one of my favorite parts with Maud, sidebar everyone, is when she is explaining to him how there's no way Uli could have kidnapped Bunny. And so she kind of calls that too.
Yeah.
By playing a porno that Uli and Bunny did together. And I fucking love, like, they even film it like it is like an old school porno.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm here to fix the cable. And I just love how she's like, and I'm sure you know what happens next. Oh, he fixes the
He
cable?
fixes the cable.
I fucking love that. Because he's mixing his White Russian. Like, no, he fixes the cable.
Again, it's that sass.
Yeah, the dude is spewing out sass. Every chance he can get.
Yeah.
But then Maud wants the dude's help because she's convinced Bunny did not kidnap herself. This is not the act of, someone trying to kidnap and extort money from my father. This is something else. So I want you to recover the money, and I'll give you a finder's fee. And the dude's just kind of like...
Yeah, everyone's giving him finder's fees.
Yeah. But pretty good finder's fees, though.
They're not bad finder's fees, because even the porn guy, what was his name?
Jackie Treehorn.
Yeah, Jackie Treehorn also gives him a finder's fee.
Yeah, he gives him like
says he's going to give him a
10% finder's fee. And so the dude... So now the case, as the dude constantly refers as it to... is now, he's now starting to be like, okay, maybe she didn't kidnap herself.
Yeah.
Until we get the toe.
Yeah.
And Walter calls on that too. Like, oh, look, I can get you toe. I can get you toe by 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
What about the...
With nail polish.
What about the nail polish? Like, it's so hard to clip someone's toe off and apply nail polish.
Yeah.
Like, Walter, it's funny. Like, as I mentioned, the dude is a smart man, but Walter and Maude kind of call the whole thing.
Yeah.
And the dude, and this is why I think the movie's so good, is the dude is the audience. The dude is trying to piece together all this information that he keeps receiving from Maude, from Walter, from the Big Lebowski.
Yeah, and I guess the dude is just like, because he has a hard time himself thinking, well, I would never do that. Right? He has a hard time thinking someone else would, I think.
Right.
And so he's like, I don't know, man. Like, look at this toe.
Like, what about the fucking toe? Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm trying to remember where we were.
We're at the toe.
Well, then the movie kind of... then the kidnappers come and threaten the dude. Flea is one of them.
Flea is one of them. Red Hot Chili Pepper fans out there.
By dropping this poor ferret into the dude's nice bubble bath.
Dude's just trying to relax.
He was listening to whale sounds.
Yeah.
He had candles lit. He
Yep.
was smoking his J.
Dude's just trying to relax.
He was just trying to relax. And I love that the dude mistakes the ferret for a marmot. I actually had to look that up one time I was watching. I was like, what is a marmot?
Yeah.
Marmots look nothing like a ferret. But marmots are, as Walter says later on, like amphibious kind of creatures. But ferrets are not.
No.
This poor ferret.
I know. I love the dude's reactions to things. So let me give you an example. I'll give you two. So one is the ferret in the bathtub.
Uh-huh.
And then one is him dropping the J in his lap.
Because he forgets his driver when they find his car.
Yeah.
His driver's side window can't roll down anymore.
Right.
And he flicks it and it bounces back.
And then, he goes, and it's super high pitched. That's how I am. And so I felt personally attacked that they were making fun of me. No. But
in 98, dude, you're probably only 5.
Yeah, I know. But they found out somehow. And but no, I do get some flack sometimes because I go, and I love that that's his reactions. That's his sort of default sort of panic sounds. Love his panic sounds. We have similar panic sounds.
Yeah. But then the movie kind of slows down a little bit.
Yeah, I would say it plateaus.
Mainly right when the dude meets Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
That's what, but not, I wouldn't say plateaus in a bad way. It just kind of slows because the dude is stressed.
Yeah.
He's convinced that these Germans are going to cut his penis off. He doesn't know what to do about the $1 million that he lost for the Big Lebowski. And he's understandably stressed.
Yeah.
And then this is when we meet the stranger. As he's credited in the movie. He has no name. He's just the stranger. Almost like Sam Elliott rolled right out off of the Tombstone set 4 or 5 years before and just walked onto the set.
That's just how he dresses all the time. I bet you he just like rolled up and be like, y'all shooting a movie? And it's like, oh shit.
Oh shit. Sam Elliott's here.
Oh shit. Have a seat.
Still with that killer mustache.
Yep.
He's always got a killer mustache.
Always.
And just like in almost like a cartoon cowboy orders a sarsaparilla.
Yep.
Which is root beer. And he kind of just shares some thoughts with the dude. And also wishing that the dude wouldn't curse so much.
And immediately calls him dude.
Yeah.
Doesn't ask his name, just says, "Hey dude.
How you holding up there, dude?"
Yeah, I mean, just like, which makes him seem otherworldly, right?
Yes. Almost like
a guardian angel type thing.
Yeah, almost like he like an ageless god kind of thing.
Oh, this is so good.
But then this is when the movie starts to pick back up again, because the dude, they think they found the $1 million. Mm-hmm. When we get one of the most famous scenes in the movie of this is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass.
This is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass. Yeah. I have never seen this movie on television, but I wonder how they do that. How they work around.
I think they just censor it.
That sucks, man. That kind of kills the whole rhythm of the whole scene, but I guess that, whatever.
This is what happens, Larry.
Poor Larry. Larry doesn't even say anything.
I know, he just stands there, like, staring out the window, watching Walter destroy this Camaro.
Someone else's car.
Yeah. Destroy this Camaro. No, not Camaro, a Corvette.
Yeah.
And what I think is so funny is the windshields break on that Corvette so easily.
Yeah.
But when the guy runs out to destroy the dude's car, the windshield doesn't break as easily, which I thought was kind of funny.
Well, I mean, it's a better car. Obviously. It's better made.
But I love the dude. So the dude goes home frustrated because they didn't get any answers out of Larry. His car got destroyed again. And I just love his homemade security system, hammering a plank into his floor so he could put a chair up against the doorknob, and
the door goes the other way.
Yes,
that was the hardest time I laughed, I think, in the movie.
Yeah, because
the door opens the wrong way.
The door opens out rather than in.
Holy shit!
And he is like so adamant, like because he's on the phone with Walter, frustrated. Like, yes, the car made it home. You called me at home, and I love their phone conversations too. Like, no, Walter, just leave me the fuck alone. Yes, I'll be at practice. Yeah. Slam.
Yeah. Because they're bros. They're buddies.
Yeah. And then this is when we meet Jackie Treehorn, who we've heard so much about by this point.
Yeah.
And nothing is really resolved at Jackie's.
No. One of the best fake outs for the audience is the notepad. Right? Because you're like, oh, he's going to... And what was, really interesting about that scene is the dude having the forethought to do that. Right?
Yeah. Because I think at this point he knows, like, okay, Jackie knows something.
Right.
I think the dude's like, this guy.
Yeah.
He's got the answer that I'm... The one little piece I'm missing.
Yeah.
And because Jackie gets a call.
Yep.
And he writes something important down. And he removes it. And then in some, like... old kind of spy way.
Yeah. It's some super old, like, film noir shit.
And the dude runs up and uses the pencil to see, like, okay. And Jackie just drew
a dude with a huge ween.
And I just love it. He's like... but he takes it anyway.
Yeah, puts it in his wallet.
As the chief of police of Malibu sees it and is just like...
Yeah.
What?
Of course, they drug him. And then we get this awesome dream sequence.
Yes, which is also... very famous also.
Yeah.
Of the dude starring in one of Jackie Treehorn's pornos.
Yeah. A really fantastical, surrealist porno.
Called Gutter Balls.
Yeah.
But then turns into a nightmare sequence because the dude is convinced the Germans are coming to cut off his penis.
Yep.
And then he goes home and the poor dude, his home is destroyed.
Yeah.
But then this is when we get the dude finally figures out what everything happens because Maud, having decided to choose the dude to sire her children.
Yep.
Even though she doesn't want anything to do with him or to be involved in the child's life, she still wanted him.
Yeah.
To...
And I like that, like, which I like that he's not your traditional, like, alpha male, you know, because when she shows up and drops the robe.
My robe.
Yeah, that's what he, you know, in a normal way, like, all right, let's go.
Well,
but he goes, that's my robe, man.
Because he also tripped on his own home security system.
Yeah. And he's just, that's my robe, man.
And then we get, I will say, this is the most information we get about the dude in the entire movie. Of, he actually has been to college, was pretty smart, like helped with a lot of important things in the 70s, and then but just decided, you know what, like, it's not for me, man. He just wants to be free.
Yeah.
All the dude wants is his rug. Okay.
Time
But then Maude gives him the actual piece of information he's been missing. That the Big Lebowski's broke. That she actually runs her dad's company. Because apparently he's
not good at it.
He's not good at it.
No.
Because he's vain. And that's...
He probably thinks the song is about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carly Simon.
Oh my God. Okay. And then the dude finally, it all comes together. He's like, your dad. That's it. And then, of course, we, the sort of subplot of there's a private investigator actually looking for Bunny.
Yeah.
A brother Seamus. Mm-hmm. I can't remember that actor's name.
I've seen him in a few other things.
He's another big character actor. But I just love the dude's like, just leave my lady friend alone, man. I'm helping her conceive.
Your special lady friend. It's not my special lady friend. This is my lady friend.
Like, I'm just helping her conceive, man. But this is what has been happening the whole time. Is that the Big Lebowski, he's fed up with Bunny. She's spending all his money, and he's fed up with it.
Yeah.
So when he got the ransom note, he's like, all right, this is perfect. I can get rid of her. I just met this bumbling buffoon. I'll pin it all on him if this goes sideways.
Yeah.
Which he was hoping it would go sideways.
Yeah.
So when Walter threw out the ringer, he threw a ringer out for a ringer.
Yeah.
Because there was no money in the briefcase. There was no $1 million.
Right.
Because the actual $1 million that we had heard later on, earlier in the movie, the Big Lebowski just embezzled.
Yeah.
He kept that for himself. But told Maude, like, oh, no, it's for the ransom. Nah, family. She was actually in Pasadena visiting friends.
Yeah.
Because then now the dude gets to ask, where's the fucking money, Lebowski?
Yeah.
And then we think, okay, the movie's over. That's it.
Oh, no, but guess what we forgot about?
We forgot about the Germans.
The Germans.
Who, they finally did it.
They killed his car.
They killed his fucking car.
And another interesting fake out is Donnie's death because, they're like, oh my God, he got shot because he's holding his chest. He goes, no, he didn't.
Yeah, Walter's like, no shots were fired, dude. He's having a heart attack.
And, it's just so funny because it is funny because, like, out of all of that, you kind of forget about Donnie a little bit. And then, you can just imagine him seeing all this commotion and just collapsing to the ground, having a heart attack.
But R.I.P. to Donnie.
R.I.P. Donnie.
And then this is when Walter verbally abuses his poor mortuarian.
Yeah.
Who's just trying to do his job.
Yeah, man.
He's trying to do. That's their most priced receptacle.
Yeah, man. It's reasonably priced.
But is there a Ralph's nearby?
They use a Folgers can.
Yeah, so which means they went to a Ralph's, bought a full can of coffee, dumped the coffee out, got all the grounds out, and then put
So
Donnie's
silly.
ashes into it.
Now, let me...
And then that's the Big Lebowski.
Let me mention this. All right. First off, all of Donnie's ashes go onto the dude, by the way.
Yes.
Which is
Because
classic dumping out ashes bit.
Because Walter doesn't realize that, when wind is blowing this way, dust and things are going to blow that way.
Fun fact about the Folgers can is that it has a Maxwell House lid. Maxwell House is blue. So I don't know if that matters, but it matters because it's blue and it's not black, which is what a Folgers can would have been. Actually, the actual cans, the metal cans are clear.
And I almost forgot to mention how the movie actually ends is the stranger giving us direct-to-camera narration about...
which you love.
Which I love. About how that about all wraps her up.
Yep.
He hated to see Donnie go, but as he heard, there's a little Lebowski on the way. And implying that, the dude is going to keep being the dude.
Yeah, dude's going to keep duding.
Yeah.
He is his dudeness. He's the duder.
He abides.
Dude abides.
And that's the Big Lebowski.
That's the Big Lebowski. So, I went ahead and pulled up on my phone.
The religion?
Dudism.
Yes. So, as Jeremy mentioned in the intro, this movie has spawned a real-life religion called Dudism.
It's a philosophy. It's a lifestyle. And here's what's so interesting is that this character has inspired so many people and has made such an impact that it has created this religion. His outlook, his attitudes, his demeanor, his overall aura, his personality is so unique, right? I get not so much to film, but to film protagonists, to the heroes, that it has created this sort of, movement, this religion.
Yeah.
Right? And it's sort of based on Taoism, which is a Chinese spiritualist religion. It emphasizes living in harmony.
Yeah.
Right? I'm reading right now, sorry.
Everyone watching the YouTube video will see Jerry.
Just me reading.
He's
sorry.
just reading.
Teaches about various disciplines and achieving perfection and coming one with the unplanned rhythms of the all called the way. So it's sort of like just going with the flow. It's going with the flow. And that's what the dude is, man. That's what he does. And so I think that's the most outrageous thing about this film is that it's created a religion. And the logo for the religion is a bowling ball.
That's fucking awesome.
Sort of a yin and yang-ish bowling ball.
That's awesome.
Sort of a thing. I'll show you in a minute. And we can put it on the thing.
Yeah, we'll put it up with that.
It's... because, like, the conventions is one thing. One movie having it's sort of like Star Trek, right? Like Star Trek conventions. One movie having its own convention is pretty substantial. It's a big deal because one movie being able to accumulate the sort of fandom that would even to have it be necessary to have its own standalone convention is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because, like, TV shows, like, they run for X amount of years or have so many episodes and, are on syndication. Like, I kind of get the Star Trek thing, right? But, for one movie to have this.
One almost 2 hour long movie.
Yeah.
About a dude just really trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Who is going to compensate him for his rug?
That's
spawning its own religion, spawning its own... it's wild.
It is wild, but I kind of get it. So I have a story told to me, so this is secondhand.
Okay. So if he fucks it up, he's sorry.
So this will kind of give you an idea of... just like sort of the impact that Jeff Bridges has. Okay. So I have this friend that I met in college. She was in my nonfiction military film class in college. Again, not a big deal. I took film classes in college.
Your parents are proud.
So proud. And her name is Rachel. And she lived in, I think, Carlsbad.
Okay.
And I said, oh, that sucks, because New Mexico sucks and everything about it sucks. And, like New Mexico, I mean, it just sucks, right?
But there's Roswell there, though, right?
Yeah. Have you been?
Yeah, I have.
It's awful. So, it's just dirt and people with bad attitudes. That's all New Mexico is. So
Wow, we just lost a big chunk.
we don't have any listeners to New Mexico. You know
don't know
why?
that?
Because they don't appreciate us. So anyway, they were filming The Men Who Stare at Goats.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen this movie. I have not, but
Yes, I have seen. It's Joel and Ethan Coen, of course.
is it really?
Yeah, I'm 90%.
I did not know that. Okay,
And
so,
it also had Ewan McGregor and George Clooney in a movie together. And I was like, I have to see this.
yeah, we're getting to that. So
And Jeff Bridges.
she is going to be an extra.
Okay.
And so she's just hanging out. She said that, I was like, oh, who did you get to meet? Right? And she goes, Kevin Spacey was screaming at a PA. And so he's not really in the talkative mood. It was because he got his coffee order wrong.
Well, I mean, that's just important, though.
So anyway, Kevin Spacey's an asshole, but we knew that already. Good actor, though. Anyway.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor wasn't there that day.
Well, Clooney's.
George Clooney was in character, and so he wasn't really talking to people.
Of course he was.
And then she heard someone behind her go, "Hey, first time on a film set?" And she turns around and it's Jeff Bridges.
Oh my god!
And he goes, "Man, isn't this so much fun? Are they feeding you guys? What are you guys eating? Like, do you want me to get you?" He was so nice, so sweet, just wanting to talk to people, loving what he's doing, right? He's just like, man, isn't making movies just so much fun, you know? And he's just talking to this person, you know, talking to Rachel, who was just standing there.
Who's just like,
I know. And so, like, I was like, can he be my grandpa? Because I love Jeff Bridges so much. And, you know, that sort of attitude sort of bleeds into why this movie works.
yeah.
You know?
Because Jeff's the nicest dude ever, man.
Yeah, he is.
Even when he's playing the villain, you know, shout out to Iron Man. The first time I'd ever really seen him play a villain.
Yeah.
But, you know, the character of the dude has also been very integral to his career. Like, I don't know if you remember the movie, you probably don't. And I don't want to hear any judgment when I bring this movie up.
We'll see.
The movie Surf's Up. You hadn't seen it.
Mm-mm. I have not seen that movie.
It's an animated movie about surfing penguins.
Oh, I know.
With Shia LaBeouf as the main character.
All right.
But Jeff Bridges plays, this hermit that is revealed later on that he's actually like this world famous surfer. Anyway, Jeff is just doing the dude.
He's just doing the dude.
He's just doing the dude. He's called. I can't remember what his fake name is that he gives everyone, but his actual character, his name is Zeke, and he's just the dude. He just wants to surf and vibe.
Hey, man, shout out to Surf's Up, guys.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to Surf's Up.
Before Shia went crazy. It's when he was still getting nominated for Kids' Choice Awards.
Holy shit.
But no, like, and so that's my point, is that the dude has become so integral to his career that, I don't know if you remember this, when John Goodman got his star on the Walk of Fame, they asked Jeff to come and do a speech, and of course Jeff was like, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
But he did it as the dude, and he even brought out the sweater and put it on, and he did it as the dude.
Amazing. You would think that he would be tired of it. I'm glad that he isn't, because, you know, I mean, it's such an important part of his career that, you know.
Yeah.
And you can't ignore it, but that's cool that he sort of, you know, you could almost think that he was like, you know, it would be really fun, you know, if I did it as the dude.
Yeah. And I think it's because I want to say Joel and Ethan kind of just really let him decide what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
That would make more sense. I'm going to have to, I mean, I don't feel like doing more work. I should have done it, especially for a movie that I love so much.
Yeah.
But it also, a part of me was also didn't want to look it up because it does take away from the mystery. Like, okay, like he made all those choices himself.
Right.
But if I just believe he did, then that's fine. In my head canon, he made all those choices.
Yeah.
You know, but it would make sense
to me. Yeah.
It would make sense that Jeff would be like, you know, like what if he like walked like this, and I love that he always has some sort of hair clip with him to put his fucking hair up
When he's bowling, yeah.
Yeah. which we never see him bowl.
No.
At all.
Or John Goodman. Do we
No,
see John?
it's right after the handoff.
Oh, okay.
Because that's when we learn about Chopper Shamans.
Oh, okay.
That he doesn't fucking roll on Chopper Shamans. Okay. Now, I haven't forgotten. So, the theory that Donnie
Yes.
isn't there.
Okay.
I'm surprised you haven't heard about this theory.
I may have, but I don't think
Ashley
I
brought it up to me after I showed her The Big Lebowski for the first time. Because she was just kind of looking it up. And, and so essentially the theory is that Donnie isn't there. Because if you watch the movie, Walter's the only one talking to him. Mm-hmm. Which is false, but I'll get there in a second. Walter's the only one interacting with Donnie. The dude never seems to respond to Donnie. So the theory is that Donnie is maybe someone that Walter knew in Vietnam, and it just kind of clings to his memory.
Yeah.
When I first heard that, I was like, yeah, that would make sense. If the dude didn't actually talk to him, the dude does talk to Donnie.
Yeah.
The reason why he doesn't so often, as we've mentioned, is because Donnie doesn't really pay attention. And when he tries to jump into these conversations, the dude, I mean, it is a little rude just to ignore him, but the dude, rather being pulling a Walter, just doesn't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But no, he does talk to Donnie, like in the when his car gets stolen, and he's got the mobile bag phone.
Yeah.
And the dude just very sadly walks away just to go home. Donnie's like, "Where you going, dude?" "I'm going home, Donnie."
Yeah.
"Your phone's ringing, dude." "Thank you, Donnie."
So he does acknowledge Donnie.
He does acknowledge
See,
Donnie.
it's the same thing where I think people are just trying to make everything Fight Club because the Ferris Bueller theory that he's not there is fun. Have you heard this one?
No.
That Cameron is imagining Ferris Bueller. Except the one thing that, besides the numerous things that make this impossible, the number one thing that makes it impossible is Genie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I don't know. I think that people are just trying to make everything Fight Club.
I mean,
Not everything can be Fight Club.
especially when Ferris Bueller was long before Fight Club.
Yeah.
And technically, it should be Cameron's day off because Ferris, the whole reason he does everything is to help Cameron.
Right.
Not commit suicide.
It should be Ferris Bueller's Day on. Am I right, guys? What the? I don't know. I heard that joke somewhere and I hated it, and so I just I thought it was funny.
But yeah, no, I mean, it would make more sense if there wasn't any part of the movie that the dude responded. And, of course, if we didn't have the scattering of Donnie's ashes.
Right. That kind of ruins it all. So even if the dude had never spoken with Donnie, I feel like it could probably still work because he's just letting, Walter just deal with his...
trauma.
Right.
But he reacts... But he's at the mortuary.
Yeah.
Anyway. It's a strange theory, but, I mean...
I like it, but it's just not true. You know, it's not like you could work it into being true. So... there are some theories that I really, really like, fan theories, that do make sense to me and that I can't poke any holes in, at least not really. Or, there was that one where in the movie Seven, they're in Gotham City, right? We talked about it before on the show.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Which I don't mind because it's not hurting anything. It doesn't hurt my enjoyment of the movie. It's just the city is unnamed, and that's obviously on purpose because you don't want to pigeonhole it in any one place.
But Gotham City?
Yeah, but they were like, it's Gotham City before Batman. Because, which Seven is definitely a future episode. Cause
100%, because it's David
unless
Fincher.
That's why we were talking about it. We've done it already. Sometimes I forget we've done movies before, but... the John Doe is sort of this fantastical, over-the-top character that would be in a Batman universe, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that he's trying to teach everybody a lesson. And, he's sort of got that Joker energy. And they're saying it's before Batman gets there. It's before, anyway. Which I like.
Yeah.
That one doesn't hurt my enjoyment. You can't say it isn't necessarily, and so it's like, so it would work, right?
Yeah.
But anyway,
Right,
so
I want to talk about, and because I'm sure you knew this. So this movie, in the Coen Brothers filmography, this movie followed Fargo. And as you talked about, Fargo is... I've never seen Fargo. I have plans to see it because I love Joel and Ethan Coen. And I cannot wait for The Tragedy of Macbeth with Joel on his own. I wonder what he had to say to Ethan, like, yo, dog, I got to do this by myself.
we have to break up.
The Jonas Brothers can't break up. Anyway, and so they followed Fargo with this, and I think pretty quickly, too. Like, Fargo, I think, had only been out for a while when they went into production for this.
I don't know if I would have done it in this order. I mean, it's fine. It's whatever. Do whatever you want.
Well,
but if it were me and I had their sort of filmography trajectory, right? I would do drama, comedy, drama, comedy, drama, comedy. I don't know if I would do comedy.
Well, this movie had a lot of... a lot of people had a lot of high expectations for this movie because it was following Fargo.
Fargo's so good.
And a lot of people were expecting it to be like Fargo.
Yeah.
But it's not. It wasn't meant to be Fargo. They were like, it was meant to be a whole other thing entirely. And a lot of people were like, so they have one good movie and one weird movie, or... But I hope the point that we have made this entire episode, which there's still a few things I still want to talk about.
Sure.
Is that this movie has such a big following. So initially, everyone was just kind of apprehensive about it. Because they're like, they're going to follow like a fantastic movie like that with one like this? Like, why?
Yeah.
Especially like, for reusing some of the same cast in Fargo, like Steve Buscemi.
That guy, we can't remember his name.
Yeah. And so a lot of people were like, okay, so, but I want to say in only just a few years after the release of it, that's when it just skyrocketed to this cult status, to, as we talked about, having its own religion.
Normally that happens because of the technology of home video and home viewing.
Yeah,
so
and I think
being able to watch it more than one time helps a lot with creating these cult statuses and these fandoms.
Yeah, because I don't think it was a box office bomb, but it definitely didn't...
It's exactly what happened to Shawshank.
Didn't do very good. I mean, it did decent. It did enough for the studio to be like, okay, Coen Brothers, like, what are you doing?
You get a few more of these.
You get a few more of this, and I'm gonna get real angry.
Yeah.
But it's just so fascinating that when people first saw this movie, that they were like, really? But now everyone is just like, dude, the Big Lebowski, dog.
Big Lebowski.
Well, of course, not so much now, as evidence as I couldn't find a shirt fucking anywhere. And so I was like, no one's not necessarily heard of the Big Lebowski, but as Ashley was pointing out, it's too niche.
Think it's too niche?
I don't think it's too niche.
Okay.
I don't think it's too niche.
Okay.
But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up, that, they didn't they caught a little flat for following Fargo with this movie. Which, I mean, you know what? It happens.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another example where, one director knocked it out of the park, and then the follow-up was, a lot of people were like, I can't think of one. You know one?
That one was fantastic. The other one was terrible. Yeah, absolutely. Richard Kelly's a phenomenal example of this. If you've seen Donnie Darko, then you saw Southland Tales, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Southland Tales is fucking awful.
What is happening right now? It's terrible.
Fuck Southland Tales.
Richard Kelly has never bounced back. Because
that movie's fucking awful.
Well, no, and then he did The Box, which is based on the short story by Richard Matheson, Button, and it's just... The story's way too short to make a feature length, and so he's adding all this stuff in there, and it doesn't make any sense, and it's bad,
Dude, but Southland Tales is just fucking Jesus Christ. I remember renting that movie with my father, and because this was during the time of The Rock's first, like...
Your father? Wow.
Oh, which I should mention, when you and I first really became friends, you called my dad Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
For quite a while.
Yeah.
Because my dad, when he has long hair and a goatee, he looks a little bit like Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, he does.
Now he's got short hair.
Boo.
And a goatee.
Boo, Mr. Whale. Grow your hair back up.
But yeah, I remember renting that Southland Tales with my dad because this was during The Rock's first kind of like big rise into movies. Like he was transitioning out of a wrestler and into a movie star.
God, if only he had stuck with it and became a star, Lord knows what would have happened now.
But then we saw like Mandy Moore was in it and Justin Timberlake and
I think Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah. And Sean William Scott. And we were like, what is this movie? And we rented it, and we were like,
ew.
An allegory for the second coming of Jesus Christ, and it's on the brink of nuclear war, and Mandy Moore's actually a porn star, and the movie makes no fucking sense.
It was crazy. I do kind of want to watch it again just so I could see
why.
Because I saw it all those years ago.
Didn't you say the Arrow release of it is the director's cut or some shit? Fuck that. I still would never see it.
Dude,
because Justin Timberlake,
his director's cuts suck anyway.
Because Justin Timberlake is our disembodied narrator, who we fucking see. He's like a sentry gunner on the beach in Florida or some fucking shit.
Yeah.
And then he has an end of the world. He narrates the fucking movie, but we see him. I mean, yes, the same can be said about the movie that we just talked about.
Yeah. Of
Sam Elliott narrating, and we see him, but that's different.
How is that different?
Because it's Sam Elliott.
Fine. How is it different for Goodfellas? How's it different from Casino? How's it different from Shawshank?
Those movies were good.
Okay.
No offense to JT. I love JT. But that movie's fuck Southland Tales.
All right.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So Future Rain, I'm going to help you out. So instead of intercutting the testimonials throughout the episode, before we actually get to them. So, Jeremy, what is this movie, what kind of personal thing does it mean for you?
This movie?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay, then when was the first time you actually watched it?
That's a good question. I was probably in high school.
Okay.
And I didn't get it, right? I
think
I didn't have the appreciation for dialogue yet, and so I was like, nothing's happening. I don't know what's going on. And I probably wasn't paying attention like Donnie. And, and I didn't really like it. I loved Jeff Bridges, and I loved his sort of, his
demeanor,
character.
yeah.
Right. But I didn't like the movie in general. And then the second time I watched it was today. So...
Are you shitting me?
No.
Oh, my God. So, like I said, the first time...
It was like watching it for the first time.
Well, it had been a while since I showed Ashley, so when I was watching it last night, she's like, yeah, and that's the reason why it's happening, right? I was like, well, yeah, kind of. And she's like, I'm sorry, it's just been a while.
Oh, Haley does that. She'll be like, oh, is he going to die? I go, not really.
So what did she think about it?
She didn't watch it. She fell asleep.
Oh, my God.
So she was napping. She was napping. And
I just love this movie so much, man.
I get it. I do completely understand the fandom. I get the cult following. I get, to a certain extent, the conventions. One of these days, I'll understand the religion. And
I don't think we ever will understand the religion.
I don't know. Is it... I should have looked up if it was recognized by the United States and recognized as a religion, because you'd be surprised. It could be.
That's true. All right, so here are some testimonials for everyone. Hope you enjoy them. And hopefully Future Rain does his job correctly and puts their names at the bottom of their testimonials.
God, let's hope so.
Yeah, I know.
Hello, my name is Zach, and I just want to say a few things about Reservations with Rain and Jeremy. So I've been listening since the beginning, and I have to say that these guys have covered a ton of movies. Anything from The House That Jack Built to A Clockwork Orange to Hereditary, one of the great horror films of our time, to David Lowery's beautiful Ghost Story, to Goofy, a Goofy movie. But my personal favorite has been their episode covering Inside Llewyn Davis. They do such a fantastic job working through the movie, dissecting some very powerful and beautiful scenes, talking through some amazing performances. But another reason that I really enjoyed this episode is because you can feel their passion for what they're doing. I mean, these guys love movies and how they impact us. And that's what Reservations is at its core. It's a show hosted by Rain and Jeremy, two amazing human beings that take us on a journey from film to film, challenging us to let our imagination go, challenging us to feel the story with them, to cry with them, to laugh with them. And so I have enjoyed listening to their show and watching it the last couple of years, and it's certainly had an impact on how I watch movies. So check out Reservations. Like I said, they've done a ton of movies, and so anyone out there could find an episode that is appealing to them. So give them a listen, and I promise that by the end of the episode, Rain and Jeremy won't just feel like hosts, they will certainly feel like friends.
Hey dudes, first of all, I want to say congratulations on 100 episodes. That's amazing. It's a landmark for any sort of podcast. But The Big Lebowski, great movie, amazing quotes. I love the main character, very cool, very chilled, an aspiration to many. I guess that's why there's a whole cult and basically a religion around the whole dude. Very quotable movie, I would say. More so than many others. Probably the most out of the Coens, definitely. But that's just my opinion, man. But I've probably seen the movie. I know it's a big favorite of Rain's. I've probably seen it a few dozen times myself. And check this out. I got a nice marmot. Anyway. Well. Congratulations, you guys. Very proud of you guys. Keep it up. Maybe I'll be in some more in the next 100. Here's the hoping. See ya.
Wow.
What? Wow. People care.
I know.
And not only do people care, and take the time out, to make us a video, even though we asked them to, I'm glad that we have friends that actually do listen, Kale excluded.
Well, wait. I think we have a special announcement from Kale.
Nah, Kale didn't send one. There's no way.
Future Rain played that right now.
Hey guys. First, I'd like to commend you for having the bravery to ask me for a video congratulating you on your 100th episode. But as I've said before, I'm far too busy to even be on the show, much less make a video for you. So, cheers.
What the fuck was that?
Nicest thing he's ever said to me. So, wow.
Okay. I mean, I guess that's the best we can do.
Holy shit, that's my favorite one. Oh my god.
Yes, I love how he just completely disregarded the assignment.
Well, to be fair, I didn't really give him an assignment.
You just told him to make a video?
Actually, I did tell him because he tells me all the time. That's a bit that we have going on. That I'm like, hey, speaking of the podcast, he goes, I'm too busy. And so I was like, just make me a video saying you're too busy to make me a video.
Oh, God.
And I liked that he was drinking and was also shirtless. That was, it's classic Kale. Kale hates wearing shirts. So.
Yeah. Well, so Jeremy, are you ready to wrap up?
I am. 100
episodes,
100
man.
episodes, man. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty stoked about it.
Here's to the next 100.
Yeah, let's you know what? Let's do 100 more. You want to do 100 more?
That's 100 more.
Okay, let's do 100 more.
Just like Rick and Morty, we got approved for 100 more episodes.
Yeah, we got approved for 100 more episodes from the top.
That means seasons might be shorter, might be longer. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Nah. But so Jeremy.
Yes, sir. What are we talking about next week?
What are we talking about next week?
That's a good question because I already know. And
we
you
both
already
know. But they don't know.
They don't know. We've already recorded the episode. So this is sort of like, I didn't want to pretend we haven't talked about it yet because I feel like that's disingenuous. We've already talked about it. We've already recorded it. So it's in the pipeline. But next week, we are talking about Dark City.
Yeah, man.
And it was fun. It was fun to do the episode. And normally we don't do them out of order like this. But
No, but this one was special. And we had to do it. We had to make sure we were doing this one right.
Yeah.
And I feel like we did.
we did all right.
It's pretty...
We should start drinking more. I kind of liked it.
I mean, you might start drinking more. I mean, you can... I bought a $23 bottle of vodka, so...
Vodka.
Just for this episode.
Well, okay.
But-
Well, then I guess I'll drink White Russians in every episode until we're out of it.
Well, guys, thanks for sticking with us for 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Get a little sappy here, but thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for listening.
I would say without the listeners, this wouldn't be possible, but that's not true.
Yeah, 'cause
we're
we don't
not-
get paid for this either.
No, we don't. And so we're not, we're not dependent on, ad revenues and listener numbers or whatever, but I am appreciative.
Yeah, but to the few people who do listen and maybe share us around, thank you so much. To the people who don't, please start doing that for the love of God. Just please.
Yeah, guys, I
we
mean-
crave attention.
I do like attention, as much as I pretend I don't, I'm lying. I like it. And, I like it when people can say, oh, that guy knows his movies. That guy knows what he's talking about.
That guy knows his shit.
Yeah, that's probably my ultimate goal in life is for people just to be like, that guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, again, thanks to everyone for sticking with us for 100 episodes. We're gonna do more.
Yeah.
We're not. This isn't the farewell. This is, hey, buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up.
But we hope you enjoyed The Big Lebowski, and we'll see you next week for Dark City.